Tron fans have been desperate for more content, and 84 years later, at least that's what it feels like, we finally got a trailer for Tron Ares. Now this came out at the D23 event. Obviously the last one we had revealed Tron Identity, a visual novel game, and it was fantastic. But now we have footage of Jared Leto in his nice red Tron suit. Earlier this year there was a photo that dropped and it was him in the suit. Obviously he had his mask on, and on his back you saw a triangle disc and it said Dillinger Systems. Now this was an interesting plot point that we knew would probably be big later, and we were so right. Now the trailer, along with what the cast had said, proved this to be true. Now before we got the cast of Jared Leto, Greta Lee, and Evan Peters on stage, we actually had the one, the only Jeff Bridges introduce us back into the world of infinite possibilities. It was officially confirmed back in April that he would be in this film, but to have him here and to see him at the end of this trailer proves that his role, although minor, is a decent sized role. Them bringing Kevin Flynn back doesn't really make too much sense in my opinion, and I don't exactly know how they're gonna do it since he imploded at the end of Legacy. This is a different system. They could say it's Clue 3 for whatever reason, but it still doesn't make too much sense to me. As you can see right here, he says, "Greetings program," the iconic line. If you look behind him, there is a interesting backdrop. This looks very similar to one of two things. It's either the tank that Clue 1 was in the 82 film, or it was the recognizer that Flynn and Bit were in during that movie as well. Now, it looks to me more like it's probably the tank, and I am wondering why it's purple, because in that movie it was like an orangey color, and obviously with Flynn right here, he's kind of purple. He's got the same white robe that he kind of had in Legacy, but he's got the similar symbol in the center that he had in the original film. It's entirely possible that before he went in 1989 to the Legacy grid, he uploaded himself to the NCOM grid, and that's an explanation we could use. And I like this because they're trying to merge multiple designs together. Some Legacy fans hate on the old 82 film. They say the design is outdated. Some 82 fans, they hate Legacy for apparently not a great story. So in this movie, they can hopefully fix things on both ends and make all the fans satisfied. But we'll have to wait and see. But when he's saying greetings program, he's actually talking to Ares, because you see Ares is like probably just loaded in, and you can see he's in the NCOM grid. So this confirms that there's going to be multiple digital worlds. We got the Dillinger system, the NCOM system from the 82 movie, and it's possible that we also will get the Legacy system. Now that one's less likely, but there was speculation online since Eve right here, who is a human character, she's the best programmer in the world, and she's actually teaming up with Ares in this movie. At this time, she's wearing a Tron suit, and some people said that the disc on the back is actually a circular disc, but I disagree. It's a side shot, and it's very difficult to see if the disc really is circular. I think it is a triangle disc, and the backdrop that she's in, it looks to be a recognizer. It's probably within the Dillinger system, but it's hard to say on that. Now, I've been talking a lot about Dillinger in this video so far because he is the main villain of this movie, but it's not the Dillinger you may think. In previous reports, and obviously thanks to Legacy, we were expecting Edward Dillinger Jr. to be the main antagonist, and obviously Cillian Murphy played that role, and in this movie they were unable to get him back for the role, so a nice compromise was made that the Dillinger Evan Peters is playing is actually Julian Dillinger, the brother of Ed Dillinger Jr. So if we get a Tron 4, Tron 5, another project, Cillian Murphy could potentially return at some point. He could still say no, but they're leaving the door open for him. But at the beginning of the trailer is where we see Dillinger, and he basically explains how we usually look to the sky, to the stars for intelligent life, but we actually got to look within inside the computer. And with all this talk of AI and stuff, it's coming to us. It's not us going to them. And that's really the only major point in this trailer where we kind of have dialogue regarding the plot of the movie. The rest of it's kind of just random scenes spliced together. We see Ares traveling throughout the city. He's going near NCOM, which they don't really show that in this trailer. There's a lot of set photos that show that, which I'll go into a little bit later. We see a lot of damaged cars, and at the end of this trailer, Ares is in a light cycle battle. You see him and another light cycle, which is likely Athena, who is the second in command of this army. We also see he's running away from cop cars, and his light line actually splits the cop car in half, and it actually kind of gives me Iron Man vibes a little bit with his laser. And honestly, the light cycles look fantastic. They look great. But other than some of these scenes of him wandering and him talking to Eve for like a split second, there's really not much to learn about in this trailer yet. After all, it is just a teaser. This wasn't even officially uploaded online. It's cam quality, so we're probably gonna get an official trailer later this year or early next year. But right before the trailer, when the actors were explaining their roles, Jared Leto said that Ares would be a version of the Master Control program within Dillinger's system. Now this is really cool, honestly. He's gonna be getting a bit of a redemption arc in this film. Based on the set photos, his lights change from red to white, and we do see him driving a car with his suit and everything, with Eve in the passenger seat. They're walking up towards Encom. As I said a minute ago, they do go around Encom a lot. We even have a interior shot of Encom that was leaked months ago, but the fact is, as the MCP, he wants to take over this world. He wants to bring like a grid Tron City to there, but I think by the end he realizes that that's not what this world is about. That's not what he should be doing. We're going to be seeing kind of like a fish out of water story, and he's going to be experiencing the world through the eyes of Ares, and it's going to be really cool for people that want to invest time in a character. It's clear that this duo, Ares and Eve, it's going to do it for them. But I do have to admit, I am a little mixed on this thus far. Everything does look great. The light cycles look great. The suits look great. The recognizers, they could be a little bit better. I'm a little mixed on them. They did say the CGI is still very early on. It's rough. Obviously, the movie comes out October 10th of next year, so of course, they do have to refine some things. But I think for an existing fandom, it is a little underwhelming. For example, one thing that made me realize why I still prefer Legacy is this shot right here. Now, in the set photos, Athena looked good, but she kind of looks like a Sentry here a little bit, and when you compare this photo to a Sentry in Legacy, there's just something about the Legacy designs that just hit way more. But that could just be me, that could just be nostalgia talking. I just hope that they nail the grid section of this movie, because that's going to be Act 2. Another thing that does disappoint me is the fact that Bruce Boxleitner, who played Tron himself, and Alan Bradley, has confirmed on his Twitter account that he is not returning for this film. It's very disappointing, and I just don't see how you can have a Tron movie without at least a cameo from the actor who played Tron himself. They could pass the torch, and obviously I think that's what they're doing with Jeff Bridges here, but I also think Jeff Bridges returning is kind of pointless. I feel like his story concluded in the last movie. Alan and Sam were going to take Encom back, and they were going to bring us to a great new future, and we were going to see that in Tron 3, and I feel like the story with those two, maybe Cora, although I feel like Cora, it's not as necessary for her to be in the film. They could have done great things with those characters and still introduce other characters as well. There's a few here that I'm looking forward to. I think additions are great, but I feel like changing absolutely everything and not bringing 90% of the things back, it is definitely a negative, and it might make some people not want to watch. It is a mixed bag, so there is a lot of positives here, and it's definitely keeping me interested to definitely check this movie out next year. And I want to emphasize, no matter what version of this movie we got, even the 2015 version, which had the Legacy characters, it was always going to be an invasion story, which is something that I definitely wanted. So the criticism there, I feel like, is a little unnecessary. If you don't like other things about the film, that's fair, but to dislike that, I'm not so sure about that. People are concerned that this movie is actually retconning Legacy, and this is because they're saying that Ares is the first digital life form to come to our world, and that Cora wasn't, but Ares could be the first known life form from the grid. Cora and Sam could have kept it secret, maybe not made a big deal about it. I know we have some things to be concerned about, but I also don't want to jump to conclusions either. Now, earlier in the video, I did talk about how Eve Kim is the best programmer in the world. This description, along with other characters, officially got leaked last year before the filming even started. So that's how we know that Eve's a programmer. Athena is the second in command program to this invasion, probably a second in command to Ares himself, and also another character like Eve's assistant. And this photo right here, this is likely the actor for Eve's assistant. Also, this guy right here with a microphone giving a speech, he's likely the other tech genius supporting character that was mentioned as well. Now, a couple other cool things when the invasion's happening, we actually see speedboats kind of. It could be something else. And we also see what looks to be kind of like the big ship that was seen in Legacy, which was also a recreation of the ship that was in the OG movie. There's a lot of cool designs here. There's just certain things, as I've said, that are a little iffy for me. And one of those iffy things is there's going to be a convention at Encom. We see Yori Tron costumes. We see a Legacy Clue costume, also an Abraxas costume, which, to be honest, the Abraxas costume looks great. but honestly, I'm worried that they're gonna get meta with it and it's just gonna be really weird. There's gonna be poor writing here, too much fun with it, while also try to be super serious at the same time. I'm a little worried about that, and I would say out of everything I've talked about so far, this is my least favorite thing. Now in Legacy, there are Tron toys, obviously the Tron video game, the poster. They were able to pay homage to that film, not only with the props, but also random lines that they would say and all sorts of different stuff like, "That's a big door," and stuff like that. It was great, but I feel like with this movie, they might try a little too hard with cosplaying, and obviously they're bringing Jeff Bridges back. I'm worried they're trying to rely on the nostalgia and the fan service recognizing things rather than trying to make a good story. That's kind of what I'm nervous about, because media has relied way too heavily on nostalgia in recent years, so I really just don't want that for Tron, but I'm hoping that they do a good job. But of course, the music is 100% the most positive thing here. As great as some of the other things I mentioned, this takes the cake. The most positive thing is 9 Inch Nails doing the soundtrack. Of course, we all wanted Daft Punk, but this is the next best thing. We got this reveal alongside the official Tron Ares logo. There's 3 or 4 versions of this logo. There's like a white one, there's a darker one, there's a red, black, and white one as well. There's obviously the neon one that showed up with the 9 Inch Nails one. They all look fantastic. I was a little iffy for like the first 5 minutes with the logo, but after that, I saw the other iterations of it and I'm like, yeah, this is totally gonna be fine. So they definitely got the logo and the soundtrack down. They got a lot of things down here, and I'm definitely pretty optimistic. Not like I was, because as I said, it seems like it's gonna be a mixed bag, but Disney's definitely optimistic enough because there's reports out there that if this movie does very well, they have tons of ideas for different projects. This could be more games beyond just Tron Identity. This could be different movies, different shows, but unfortunately, that doesn't include Tron Uprising, as apparently they don't have plans to continue that, which does suck, but I guess it is what it is. If these movies do well, Disney may want to return to Tron Uprising, so we'll have to wait and see, but that's really everything there is to know about Tron Ares. It's a mixed bag, a lot of good, a lot of bad, and I'll definitely be making a video as soon as new information comes out. But what do you guys think? I'd like to hear your thoughts on this down below.